This is Jeremiah. Let's get into this. We have a few things we're going to get into. We're having a lighting problem today again, and I don't. We won't get into that. I'm going to have to fix that. That's my responsibility. And anyway, let's get going. We're going to get into the rapture today. Now almost every video I've had, I'm really hammering home on 20 something, 25, 26, 20, 27 or so videos. We have really hammered home what's going to happen this year. Pretty soon we're going to get into it, and I'm not going to give an overview anymore. And we're not going to have the overviews and so forth. I'm going to have to really get going here. We're going to have to start getting into the lessons, germane, but it's really good to give some sort of preemptive strike, to get the ground ready. And of course, this is Jeremiah with New Covenant. We greet you in the only name given. The Lord is our shepherd. We don't have any wants. And if we have any wants, they won't last long, and God gets the glory for those wants. Psalm 23. Let's get going. Now we have the rapture enumerated here. I may change the enumeration, but I don't have the rapture. I had it in stone and I changed it. I'll probably change it again, but pretty soon I will have things in stone. As many of you know, we try to get everything in stone here. Agape is now high, Y, and fly. And that's what agape is. So I know what I'm going to do with number one here in the categories. Remember, we have 52 categories here. And the number one category is agape. And what it means is it means high love and high intelligence. And it means that you're going to ascend to purity. Purity is the key. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm glad that many of you are excited and the matrimonial videos that are honoring marriage are doing very well, so we're honoring marriage very well here. And Paul gives us that commandment, honor marriage, and marriage is to be honored amongst everybody. And when the Lord uses the word anyone or whosoever, it's the same word that Paul uses. It's an indefinite pronoun, meaning for 2,000 years, the rules are straight and they're straight up. We talked about this in the previous videos, so I'm not going to go into it right now, but the Master in Matthew chapter 5, he lays down the law for all of mankind. It's not just a few people, it's everyone. It's not just people over here, people over there. And of course, it's primarily for people who have heard the gospel. A lot of what you're hearing in those red letters and in our Bible study here in the New Covenant is basically for people who have heard the gospel. But even people who haven't heard the gospel, some of these rules apply to them. We won't go into that right now. We're going to talk about people who have heard the gospel. That's the basic Christian stance we have. That's what we teach primarily here. I don't talk too much about people who have not heard the gospel and so forth. That's the Old Testament and people for 2,000 years who did not hear the gospel. That's what that criteria is for. But for people who have heard the gospel, we have a lot of scriptures for us, and that's what we focus on the most here. If not almost entirely so far in this ministry, I don't think I've talked too much about, just a smidgen. Jeremiah is here, he is on fire. We have a new theme song coming up, and it's called I Love You, Jesus, and I just have another one that I'm going to add to How We Love You. That's another one. And many of you can tell we're focusing on love here now, big time. We're focusing on love big time. Love is the greatest thing. Faith, hope, and love. These three abide. But the greatest of these is love. Faith is not the greatest. Neither is hope. You can turn your TV on. I talked to the people at the bookstore here not too long ago. I was ordering some Bibles, and I told the nice lady who was the receptionist there, I told her, she takes the orders, and she takes all the orders over on the telephone and so forth, and I told her that the Christian bookstore is in trouble. And the reason why they're in trouble is that they become materialistic and they place faith above love. And the reason why they place faith above love is because faith brings money and material things and pleasure. It's quite simple. And I wouldn't want to be affiliated with that because that's Babylon. Anytime there's error, you're really in Babylon. I don't care what the error is. That's, when you go to heaven, there's no error, there's no mistakes, there's nothing bad at all, nothing. There's nothing ugly in heaven. Everything is beautiful, in order. There are no lies, there are no cheating, nobody's in pain ever. Nobody cries in heaven. And there was a rock and roll song here years ago, Tears in Heaven. That's utter nonsense. There's no such thing as tears in heaven. I'm speaking in terms of human beings who are saved and who pass away. There are no more tears. And unfortunately, as an American citizen, I have to listen to Babylonians talk and sing in the grocery store, but it's a part of life. God has not called me out of the world, away from people who are confused. I have to go into Babylon, like Daniel did, and save people, and that's what we have to do. We have to go into the city and rub elbows with people, and that's the way it goes. I go in the grocery store, I hear all kinds of music and crazy music, and people are singing out of key, and I've never heard so many people sing out of key before in my life. You're not supposed to sing those notes. Thank God when I went to college, everybody had to play and sing in key. When you go to college here in America, historically up until 1970 or so, 1980, 1990, everybody in Western civilization who went to college, you could not play a note that was not in key. You could possibly bend a guitar note or something, but you could not bend notes and sing out of key, play out of key. You couldn't do it. I don't care what kind of music it was, whether classical, jazz, popular music, it doesn't matter. When I go in the grocery store, all I hear over and over again is people singing out of key. Now, I haven't contacted some of these grocery stores and told them anything, because I don't think it's going to do any good. But the point is that I don't want to hear people sing out of key. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's all I hear. That's why you know you're in Babylon. Because people are singing out of key. Everything out of order, no matter what it is, has nothing to do with God. Sing out of key, talking out of turn, being rude, no matter what it is, if you're being mean or whatever, it has nothing to do with God. And we sit around here and we have to deal with it because that's what our grandparents did for us. They threw us into all this mess. Going to the grocery store, hearing people sing about stuff that doesn't make any sense at all. Acute mental retardation, right there playing in your ears while you're grocery shopping. And all this adds up to Babylon, confusion. It means a place of confusion. Now let's get to the lesson today, which is the rapture. We left off. I'm going to enumerate a few things. I may make this permanent. I may not. Remember, we do have some things permanent in this ministry. And of course, one of them is, of course, we just mentioned agape, which is high love, why love, and fly love. High love is you can't beat it. It only comes from the presence of the Lord. Animals don't have it. Buildings don't have it. Chickens don't have it. Nobody has it unless you're a human and you've repented. And you have it. And 1.2 is why. Why is this so important, all this love stuff and all this love joy and, taste and see that the Lord is good. One of the scriptures we used here recently was taste and see that the Lord is good. I put that up on my videos. Taste and see that the Lord is good, okay? You go to the right restaurant, and I don't have to tell you about it. You tasted how good. You tasted. My mother used to cook things perfectly. I know how to taste food better than 90% of the population. Because my mother was an excellent seasoning guru. if I can use that word in quotation marks. Uh, so I know what good food tastes like, how it's seasoned properly. I can tell when something's not fresh because my entire life my mother cooked everything fresh. So I guess you could say I did live the American dream to some extent. I've been knocking the American dream recently, but a lot of people, some of you out there need to understand, we're not saying that some of the American dream ideology is not true. Fundamentally, it's wrong. Fundamentally, William Penn and his wife, who made plans to come out here from England, they were wrong in a lot of their assessments, such as getting away from persecution and so forth. Very similar to the MAGA crowd now with Trump and all the Republicans and so forth. They're getting together and they're saying that essentially they're going to make everything so nice that there's no more persecution for us anymore. The Bible doesn't teach that. But it does teach that if you concentrate and you do a good job with your government, the people are going to do better. That's what the Bible teaches. The Bible doesn't say that if everybody downtown is nice and kind, it's going to be better for you. Of course it's going to be better for you. But we don't have that burden to deal with downtown. We have a church to take care of. We have a loving master who we're going to be with soon, and that's our focus. And if that bothers some people, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. Jeremiah's Lamentations. I'm sorry to hear that you are not looking forward to being with Jesus Christ. And as far as the MAGA and make America this and long live America, it's a lot of it's nonsense. The tribulation period says the whole world is going to be tossed upside down with earthquakes and everything. That goes for America too. So how can you stop that? Because you want to care about America and so forth. You can't stop the end of the world and hell on earth because you love America or you like America. I'm a very patriotic person. I have a gazillion patriotic movies. I might watch one tonight. I'm very patriotic, but I'm not overboard. The world is not your home. They keep coming on TV saying, America's my home, America's my home. It's utter nonsense because it's not your home. You're going to die. It's not your home. It's your temporary home. You want to take care of your home and so forth. I'm all for that. You want to push righteousness and everybody being nice to each other and respecting each other's opinions and all that kind of stuff. Well, we're all down with that here in the church. However, we don't have any connection to how that happens, essentially, because we have no protocol for it. I have no protocol in these red letters to participate in anything political at all. We have Bible study here, we pray, and we go to bed. Essentially, that's what I do. I might watch a classic movie tonight. I don't know, I could watch Wake Island. I don't think I have it on digital, but I do have the DVD. I can watch Wake Island, a very heroic, epic situation for the Marines not too far from Japan. Unfortunately, they were very close to Japan, which is not good. The strategy was bad for the government. However, you can only strategize so much. You're going to get some pain if you're in a war. You can only strategize so much. War is war. They probably shouldn't have had those boys over there on Wake Island, isolated with only a small company. And unfortunately, the Japanese, before they went home from Hawaii, stopped by and had dinner with them and told them everything was hunky-dory. They were lying like dogs. I'm not saying Japanese are bad people. Please don't misunderstand. What I'm saying is that the people who came to the island lied. Long live, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. They had a salute, Franklin, Delano Roosevelt, the Japanese saluted, all the time they're getting ready to bomb the daylights out of the people that are on the island. They already knew it. One of the best friends I had in college was Japanese. Her name was Aiko, a wonderful artist and a wonderful person. I used to hang out with Aiko in Hollywood a little bit when we were going to college. I'm just saying that at that time, those Japanese officials and ambassadors, they lied through their teeth. It was horrible. They just lied. It was kind of, well, I only have a recollection of what happened, but I am patriotic. Don't get confused here. We're looking for the rapture here in America, and we who are Protestant Christians who love Jesus Christ, we're anticipating being with Jesus Christ. Therefore, we can't prioritize America or making America great again. I can't prioritize that. I'm down with it. I'm down with a lot of the MAGA crowd stuff. You better believe I am. But I'm not buying the whole enchilada. I saw a preacher pray before the MAGA crowd here. I wouldn't do that. If I went there, I'd pray that everyone would be saved. And is Donald Trump saved? When you have church, or you don't have church. There is no half church. I don't believe in that. I don't think that pastor should do that. Is he a bad man because he did it? I don't think so. But is it an intelligent thing to do? I don't think so at all. Because church is church. Who here is saved? Who here is looking to be with Jesus Christ? And that's the goal here. As far as having some prioritizing for making the government better, okay, that might be okay. But it could never prioritize what we're doing. I can't go 2 hours talking about making America great. I can't do that. I have to interrupt it with the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ, who I love. I have to interrupt it. I have to prioritize what my heart says. And my heart says, I want to get out of here. So for me to sit there and talk about how much my heart is entangled with the world and fixing the world and fix this president and fix that person, I can't do that. Can't do it. Now, does God use people who do these things and always? I think it's quite obvious that He does. But should it be their protocol? No. There's no calling for that, as far as I know, because it's not directly related to the church. Everything goes back to the church. Everything. Church duties and activities. The duties I have right here are directly related to the church. One of my brothers told me he wants to sing songs and romance songs. I used to sing some romance songs years ago, but I told him I don't do it anymore. The only person we sing for now is Jesus. Period. I just put some romance songs up from the 101 Strings, and they have scriptures on their instrumentals. Beautiful, beautiful arrangements. But it's not really a part of my ministry. It's up there for people who are married and want to look at some of the beautiful videos, because our theme last year was beauty, and that fit right in. A lot of Christianity relates to beauty, big time. That's why our master said some people are going to go into outer darkness. And before we get to the lesson, let me mention that. When the master says they're going into outer darkness, that's the whole point of beauty, because beauty starts with light. In this ministry, number 12 is light. We talk about the importance of what light is. And that when the master says someone is in trouble and he's going to punish them with hell and so forth, one of the attributes is darkness. Why? Because you didn't want light in your life. And one of the attributes of going to heaven is light, big time. You can't see color without light. You can't enjoy anything without light. How can you enjoy something without light? And one of the big components of the lesson last year, which was the theme of last year's theme of 2022, was beauty, and that light is absolutely essential for beauty. For enjoying your life, light is absolute. Here in Indiana, we got 4 months here of no light half the time. I'm from California, and I'm still not used to it. Why? Because you have light almost all 300 days, 330 days out of the year in California. You have light. Light is the key to just about everything. There's no way you can enjoy beauty without light. What's inside of white light? Color. There are rays and waves of color in white light. And one of the ways you can see it is put it on a crystal. And it will bend the waves so that you can see what's in the white light. That's why God said, I'm going to put my rainbow in the sky to Noah, because he put his rainbow in the sky because he's light. He can do that. Light can produce color. Darkness cannot produce color. It can't produce design, because if you design something, you can't see it. Now, let's get to the lesson germane. Number one is caught away, the rapture. That's what the word means. Number two is sanctification and the love, joy you have, and the excitement of being separated. You're no longer hanging around sirens and tornadoes or nothing anymore. They're all that's gone. You've been completely sanctified now, permanently. That's what number two in this ministry is. And we talked about some of the attributes of a new body, Psalm 17, Revelation 19, etc. So it's the rapture, it's the sanctification, which is the great escape. The great escape is number three here I have in this ministry for, we'll probably call that 14.3. 14.1, 14.2, and 14.3. And that is that the great escape is you're going to get away from all of this stuff that's getting ready to happen. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people who are still somewhat conscientious, and they're going to experience the horror that goes on for these 7 years. I'm not going to go into prophecy right now in depth. I'm just saying that the Master gives two accounts of the end of the world. Then John gives an account of the end of the world in detail. 7 years. And that comes from number 6 seal and number 7 seal. Because you have activities before the first seal, and you have activities that are after the 7th seal. And after the 7th seal, we have heaven and earth descending. And that is the millennia and the eternity, which is where New Jerusalem comes down out of heaven, which is about the size of Australia, and I guess it's going to be in the center of the mesa, where people will be living outside of the city itself. I don't know the configuration and the topography for all of that. I'm going to give you, for those of you interested, I'm going to put some new lessons up on the prophecy and the end of the world and so forth, and I'm going to give it in a very short fashion, or in a short discourse. No, I'm not giving a lot of details. I don't think I'll do that this year. I don't think I'll have time. My year is already planned, basically already. It's already planned. For those of you who are interested, what's coming in the future here, we will always go back to the rapture here, off and on. We will go to agape quite often, as I just mentioned agape again. Those two lessons are like huge because they're basically the same thing. The rapture is the same thing as love. Because you're with the person who loves you and you have fellowship. In the Hebrew it's called the Feast of Tabernacles. So that's what you're doing. And of course we have 7.11, 12, 13, 14 that give you gifts. that you're going to receive when you're with the Master and so forth. We've already done that in Beauty in Heaven. I've already went over the gifts that you're going to receive, a lot of the gifts. And once again, we're going to go back to that quite often. Because the rapture and agape are two of the main things we're going to talk about forever until the rapture comes. However, we will mention beauty in heaven a lot because it's a positive thing. We're getting away from a lot of negative. The beast is going to do this, and people are going to suffer and go through that. We're getting away from that. We're not getting totally away from that. What in America we call like negativity or something. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna touch on it lightly from now on. What we're focusing on right now is the good stuff, the things that you're gonna get when you get into heaven, which you already went through in number 7. And those videos are available for you to browse and to look at what you're going to get in heaven. And I will be mentioning those more this year. We're not done with talking about the gifts you're going to get in heaven, because it's positive. This year and forever in this ministry, we're getting away from the old playlist over here. The old playlist talked about Jehovah's Witnessism, the demonic doctrines, and all this stuff, and Muslims, and sin, and divorce, or unwise people, and torture or something. Or I don't want to use the word torture. This is for children also here, but it's for people experiencing bad things and all of that, and mean people and stuff. We're just about 90-80%. We're done with all of that. Now I will put those videos up for you for those of you who are interested. That's on my previous channel where I have Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, or all this demonic stuff. It's available for you to learn and to check yourself to see if you are in the faith. You need to test those spirits. You got to check them out. Is that Protestant sound doctrine of the red letters? Okay, and that's one reason why you're here. So you can test the spirits. You can test what people are teaching and find out whether it's sound doctrine or not. Some of you need to get out of where you are, or make sure you don't go to the wrong place. Either online or walking or driving or whatever. This is Jeremiah. We're going to shut down. We'll get back to, we have 1, 2, 3, basically hammered home. We're defining that what caught away is the rapture. We're defining what sanctified is, because that's the title of this number 14 in this ministry, which is the rapture. I even separated it from prophecy. It's a part of prophecy, which is 16. But that's how important the rapture is. It's been separated and taken out of our future eschatology. That's how important it is. And of course, number 3 was the great escape. So the rapture is being sanctified by the great escape. We'll get back to that in the next video, okay? I want to talk about the matrix for 2023, what we're going to do this year pertaining to focusing on about 7 items and putting them together for you, such as the new covenant, or the covenant is an agreement. It's an agreement offer. And that offer has in it a set of rules and reality and teachings. And the most important thing in all of those teachings is living bread. These red letters here. Commandments. Just as you and I have had problems in our life due to our grandparents, that they didn't listen to the commandments. Everything comes back to commandments. I don't care what you say, what you do. You can go swim, you can fly around, but everything always comes back to the Lord commanded you. God told Joshua, "Have I not commanded you?" That's it. Everything in the Bible is basically teaching you about commandments. I gave you a command. Now I'm going to tell you what the command is. I told you to be a very caring, loving person. I'm going to show you what kind of person that is. And you either get on board or you don't. They used to have a joking song here in America. Is you or is you not my baby? I'm using some bad grammar to make a point here. I don't use that kind of grammar very much, but is you or is you not my baby? You know, where are we here? You know. Are you going to eat the living bread or are you not going to eat the living bread? We're going to talk a lot about living bread this year. And of course, it's an agreement to encounter the Bible, say yes to Jesus Christ, and the primary thing you're going to do is do what your grandparents didn't do in the Garden of Eden. You're going to listen to what the boss says. Yes, sir, master. Salute. And be quiet. Everything else I don't want to hear about. I'm privileged. I get it all the time. I'm privileged. God has me privileged. I don't have to go through any problems or face any sufferings of Jesus Christ or the fellowship of his sufferings. It's all nonsense. The core of the gospel is humiliation. That's the core. That's living bread. And you need to have wisdom so that you select that bread. And the results are you own the blessed hope and you're going to own the love forever. That is the matrix for this year. I just gave it to you. I'm going to go over it again. I'll be right back. That's the basic matrix of this year. Now we're adding, don't get confused, we're adding a lesson right now on the rapture. And we're also talking a little bit about agape. Okay, and we're going to talk about, we're going to stop right here. Maranatha. Shalom.